Dan here, the Speed Shop. So today, Camaro, you guessed it. So the plan for today is I want to hang the front clip, possibly the hood and all that, and just see kind of what we're looking at. Before we get into that, I did go ahead, so I tried ratchet strapping the rear end to the car to kind of give it a little bit more down, because it's just so tall, it drives me absolutely crazy. That's all the bounces out of it, so we're going to have to put drop blocks on it. But while I was doing it, and there's all sorts of little screwing around I have to do, and that's what I wanted to do this video, see what the screw around factor is. I'm pretty happy. The wheel is pretty centered on this side. The other side, it's a little, It seems like it might be just a little bit forward. I couldn't get this side ratchet strapped down as much.
Oh yeah, it is forward.
So that's a hassle. But if I pull that side down, it won't be as much because the suspension will, the rear will move back. But I'm looking at it, I'm like, well, this is weird. So I brought the tape measure out. This is where I get angry.
I feel like we can all predict what's coming.
So if we measure from, there's a little body line right from the end of the wheel well to this body line, if you get in there, we're a little over 13.
Let me get real close.
We'll call it 13 1/4, right where my thumbnail is. So that would be from the edge to the wheel well opening, 13 1/4, remember that. If we go to this side, we'll do the same deal. We go from the edge of the wheel well, 13, you see that?
Yes.
So this one is a 1/4 inch shorter than that one. So obviously that way forward. So there's a 1/4 inch where the wheel wells are offset. Okay, so be it, I guess. And then obviously we got to pull that down. So we'll have to figure out, I guess, level it. That's the other thing I did. I measured it. It was, what's this one? I think it was 3/4 of an inch. It's 32. This is, yeah, 32 3/4. So this side of the car is up 3/4 of an inch. So quit stepping on stuff. So as the car goes down, it will scoot the rear end back. So I'm pretty confident the springs are good. Again, when we centered the rear end to the rockers, they were good. So I think the quarters are different where the friggin' wheel well is. Center to center. Now, more sheet metal conundrums. So everybody was, I put this is a new deck lid, and obviously it fits on this side. Because of the way I attached the quarter panel, I used the factory Camaro bits, and on this side, I used the whole quarter to go in. Well, obviously we'll end up with that big gap ski. Some more measuring. Everyone was telling me, put the old deck lid on, it'll fit perfect. Okay, so let's just measure. I measure it right quick. So the back here, you gotta go over here, camera lady. 51 3/4, back to back. We'll go on this side. We'll do it your way so it's easier. 51 3/4. So the back of the deck lid is the same width. They are the exact same. There's no fitment issue there. The issue comes this quarter panel. So if we go across, we kind of, I don't know, whatever we're back there. Let's say we're 2 inches back. It's just under 3 inches, maybe 2 7/8 or so. And if we go 2 inches back here, that's about there-ish, or 3 1/8. So there's a 1/4 inch difference in the width of the quarter panel, and it's all in that side because this side is fine. That's, you know, whatever. So that's where our gap came from. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut it. Oh, you're really jarring the camera here. We're going to slice right on the edge up until where the door or the gap is good. We'll bend it over. We'll have a pie-shaped piece. We'll tack that in, and then I have in the corner, I kept the old tops of the quarters. We'll scab a piece in there, and that'll fit. So that's good. The doors are decent. I was just starting to screw around, taking out broken bolts. So, you know, broken off studs, weld a nut to it. So we'll carry on and get a couple more of those out, but then we can bolt on the whole front suspension. So the only thing is the rear end being in there a little goofy, which doesn't make me super stoked, but the rear end is square. It's the body that's, well, it's the quarter panel that's just dead wrong. So I don't know what I'll do there. If I should maybe give a little bit of hammering or just accept the fact that you won't see both sides at the same time. No, I think what we gotta do is lower this thing so it's the proper height, and then we'll go from there, because it is quite a bit taller. You can even just see in the eye, it's a full inch taller on this side. So there you go. Don't build yourself a monster truck 67 Camaro, but that, so you spend all the money, buy all the panels, you're like, oh, this will be good. You learn how to weld, and then now you have all these other problems. So this is quite a time-consuming process, but such is life. I want to get the fenders on, make sure those are fitting good. Nothing is actually permanent here, so I might be able to scoot this quarter panel ahead just a little, maybe. I did line it up at the back, so maybe I can do that. Just move it ahead that little tiny bit. See what all kind of, back here it's lined up though, so pick your poison, I guess. If I move the wheel well forward, problems. Anyways, let's go ahead and break some bolts, because that's what's gonna happen. And yeah, I'll put the steering on, front clip on. I think I'm gonna use that hood. When I got that hood with it, I think it was dated like 9300, someone had wrote on it. And I was like, oh, this thing's old, it's kind of rusty on the top and all that. But I'm gonna go ahead and say that 93, 2000, 320, that 20-year-old cowl hood, some quick arithmetic there, is gonna fit better than whatever new hood that I don't have. It's actually at my buddy's place in Saskatchewan. It's the other hoods are brand new. I bet that hood's gonna fit better. So we might as well just bodywork that one and put it all together and make this thing look like something. I'm starting to get to the end of my rope on this, so I need a bit of a break on it. So I wanna make it look like a car, tack it all together, and then go work on something else. Oh, door shuts though. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. I'm gonna try and weld some nuts on it. Now, what I did before is I welded some nuts on, and I thought the heat of the welder would be enough to kind of break everything loose, but that was not the case. Well, I run this through your guys' legs there. Sorry. So we'll go ahead. We're gonna heat the hell out of this, weld a nut to it, see if we get lucky. Come on. Those were a pain, but I got them all out, whatnot, every single one. That was a nightmare. The only one that screwed up was this one here. Unfortunately, the little, whatever holds it is kind of broke. So I'm gonna have to tack it in place, and we'll have to use the fenders adjustment. I can't see how you get in there. It's all boxed in and whatnot. Now, the car's up in the air. The wheel alignment was driving me crazy, so I screwed around with it a bunch, and I think I found the problem. Part of the problem. The quarter panels are still, that measurement didn't change. The way this rear end goes, you know what, let's, I think we have the proper stuff outside. Sure, but it's nighttime and raining in February. But, so what it is this. So the deal is, this little rubber pad is what centers the diff on the spring, right? Just like that. You can see how this one is so small and beat up, and that fits in there. Well, what happens is you put that in there, and it has, this one's I guess probably all wore to pieces, but it has some flex back and forth. So it came with these, and they originally didn't fit. What they are is little, I don't know, spacers, whatever you want to call them. They go over like that, and then fit in this piece a little bit more snugly. So that's what I did. I put those in there, but I gotta say, even with these isolator mounts in there, sorry, it didn't, I could still move the diff. So like the pin is there, it's in the rubber, it was in this little piece, and I could still kind of slide the diff over. So I centered it, I measured it, and in turn, I think we are good now. I guess what I did is I had it all measured, and I must have moved it around, but, well, we're pretty close, so I can kind of 2 fingers snug to the rocker, go on the other side here, and it's just hanging suspension all the way down. Oh, same thing, kind of 2 fingers snug to the rocker. So we're gonna call that close enough, and ultimately we can play with the wheel arch on the other side a little bit, because I was actually looking at it. It still needs to be clamped and kind of bent over. This one fit a little funny, so I think it needs to be schwacked a little, and then you can do whatever. But anyway, I think it's good enough to go ahead, but I'm babbling. What they sell, because this thing has to be lowered, is 2-inch drop blocks that look like that rubber piece, but they're machined aluminum, and they'll go on there. It'll fit on the leaf spring, it'll fit in the diff, and then it won't be able to move, and it won't, I mean, it's aluminum, so it won't be able to kind of move around. So that'll be, damn it, the ultimate goal, and I think that'll give it the proper stance, the proper look, and lock the diff in dead center. So that's the plan. For now, it's in there, it's clamped, it's snug tight, there won't be any issues. We can actually drop it down maybe and take a look-see real quick, but I feel a lot better. I couldn't possibly carry on. Man, it looks goofy when it's got no load on it. Man, we need a motor in this thing. It would drop down a lot faster. Come on, come on. This is gonna just look like an absolute monster truck again though. Okay, so it's forward, but you can see the rear end is just jacked up. Let's see if it matches on this side. This is the first time I've had it down. I'm gonna say, yeah, they're the same. So, win, I can carry on and not lose any sleep. It was just placement of the rear end not being perfect. The mistake I made there. So let's hang the front sheet metal, and then it's supper time. So I wanna hang the front sheet metal, put the cowl in, do all that, see what it looks like. Then we can focus on maybe fitting the quarter, welding in the quarters proper, all that sort of stuff. But huge weight up my shoulders. Man, I tell you, stuff like that, sometimes you gotta walk away. And this right, I know you're watching the video, so everyone else can log off here at this point. You should have been here for this, man. You know, you always talk me through these things when I get all stressed out and angry about it. Anyways, support a senior. Let's put the front end together. Well, kind of put it back together. Honestly, the fenders fit okay. They still need lots of fitment, kind of issues, but realistically, it's all just shims at this point. The, doors open and close. Yes, it's got a big gap, but it's not terrible and very fixable. I don't have any hood hinges. Well, I have one, but it's pretty beat up. This side, same deal. Fits okay. A little bit of a, the door looks like it's got a bit of a schwammo, so we'll have to smack that down, but this one's got some loose metal in it, but there we go. Fits. Everything is loose. This part, where we're at right now, we could sell the car. This right here is the dream everybody wants. This is the dream I would want. All the ugly metal work is done. Now it's like the fun stuff. Unfortunately for me, I'm like kind of over it, so I'd like to take a break from this thing. Tomorrow I'm gonna get a few bits and pieces yet. We gotta clean up the steering, take it to the solvent tank at work, maybe tomorrow or the next day. Get that. I'm gonna order some blocks for the back, just drop down, make it look cool. What else do I gotta do? I put some reminders on my phone. Oh, I need bolts for the subframe. I wanna get the subframe on properly. It's just kind of sitting there, give it the proper height. We then can set the hood in there if we want, kind of make it look like something. And realistically, I think we can probably start fitting the quarters 100%, get those welded in, you know, start making it all kind of fit. So that'll be what we're doing the rest of the video. Looks like a car. I gotta get some diff oil in it, but get it all welded up. Have it like a legitimate roller, and yeah, bit by bit. Like maybe put the glass in it even. I'll see if I should do that or not. I don't know. I'll find it out. But I'm taking a break. I'll see you guys tomorrow. But I'm friggin' stoked. We got a rust-free Camaro, and I'm amazed, I must say, that everything kind of fit. For how far apart this car was and how much cutting and welding it was, I mean, their back, top and bottom is basically new. Doors, rockers, front floors. Whew. This been a lot of work. Hopefully some sucker, smart person will give me a bunch of money for it this summer when I sell it, because I don't know if it's a keeper. See you tomorrow. Well, car's on the table. It's been a couple days. I was feeling a little under the weather, so that wasn't really for me. And then I was still in the garage. I was actually cleaning up. Look at that. We have a whole garage to ourselves. While I was doing that, I was like, okay, well, let's go ahead and work on this front steering. So I cleaned everything, just pressure washed it all off. It was looking pretty good. I started taking it apart, and I noticed, well, that's not good. So that's, the case is split. You can see all old, rusty. So obviously that happened a while ago. My assumption would be that sat outside, which it did. It was in this car. I had a hood on it the whole time, but who knows? It's been sitting outside for, I mean, X number of years. Water must have got in there, froze, cracked, broke, carry on. So I was like, okay. So I started looking for a replacement box. Well, they are not giving those away. They were like, $300 on Rock Auto with a core exchange. And I don't think that's a usable core. I mean, being a broken case and all, it's probably junk. So I'd be into it for $300 to $400. I was like, oh, shipping, not cheap. We could take the one off the 68, which I had those thoughts, but then we're just chasing our tail because the 68 wouldn't have any sort of steering. Don't really want that. I did find the manual steering ones were cheaper. I do prefer manual steering. That's my own thing. I know a lot of people judge. And so I was like, okay, well, I'll get a manual steering one for $175. Well, then it turns out the Pitman arm is different, power steering to manual. Fantastic. Then I found they have a manual box that uses a power steering setup, so you can just swap it over. So I purchased that. It was $300, and then shipping was another $60 on it. So that was brutal. So unfortunately, I'm in a situation where maybe I could have found something local or hunted around or whatever, but I don't know. I don't know what all it fits. If it's just Camaro, Nova, you know, F body, X body, whatever you want to call them, or if it's more things. But we're at the point of, they had it in stock. I'll have it in 3 or 4 days. I'll have it in the next couple of days. And then this car will be drivable or rollable. And that's important to me, so it's worth a few extra $100. So that was a real kick in the teeth. I'm not gonna lie, I was not expecting to spend that on steering. I did get nuts and bolts for the front end, so we'll do that right quick. Get that taken care of, and I think what we're gonna do to finish off the video is weld the quarters in permanent, so they're like 100% done. This side's not too bad. This side has a lot of screwing around to do at the bottom, so I'll have to get that taken care of, but we can weld the top all in so it's not going to go anywhere, and then all the screwing around will be done down there once everything else is locked into place where we want. Otherwise, I mean, it's she's a roller. I just got a call, Motor John and Cecil, motor's done, so we're gonna go ahead and check that thing out. That's pretty exciting. And I actually bought a Muncie transmission. I found one on Marketplace. I picked that up. I'm gonna have a guy go through it real quick, just see how it is. Then I gotta make an order, well, probably right through Holly. I mean, that's Lakewood and all that, but I need a clutch, scatter shield. I ended up buying all the pedal assembly, so I have that to put like a factory style clutch deal in it. And yeah, I'm not gonna put the motor in just yet. If we get everything welded together, I'm thinking we're gonna have a couple of weeks of body work on this, which I don't wanna do, and I might take a break and work on that Ford for a little. We'll do the best we can, paint it a color, start putting the motor and stuff together. This is the fun point. We're finally teetering over. I'm pissed off at the car, so I need a break. That's the plan. So I'm gonna get set up, pull the welder out, and we'll see what we can get fitting here on them quarter panels. Oh, we also gotta weld in the trunk latch. Forgot about that. Oh, I had to order hood latches, forgot about that. These are what was in this thing, kind of junk. So I ordered a pair of hood latches, which were 60 bucks each, which was a rip-off. I should have them next week as well. Then we can start fitting the hood. So I'm all over the place. I know, sorry, but that's where we're at. So yeah, let's start welding. Okay, so we got the old girl up in the air. Trying to fit the quarter, so we're gonna end up running a couple of ratchet straps over. I just welded some washers on the bottom, and we're gonna use these pliers to kind of clamp them. I gotta pull the quarter back. So this quarter panel didn't have a whole lot of curve to it. It was very flat, which cascade of problems. Myself, probably the issue. I had to cut the inner wheel tub out a little bit. It needs a little more of a curve. On this side, I guess, you know, when I test fit it, obviously it wasn't proper, so so be it. We'll cut that out, I'll just weld it back in, it'll be fine. As you can see, the front has got quite a curve to it, and I have two ratchet straps giving it the curve it needs here. A lot of people are talking about, you know, not replacing this tail pan. I have the panel, we can always change it down the road, but I really don't think it's that bad. It has a little bit of filler on the sides, but I mean, such is life. I might section in just a little piece of it actually right here because it's bent and broken. This little bit right here has got a bunch of filler, but down here is good. So that's what I'm gonna focus on. We'll put this little section, weld that in nice. And then up top here, if we have to put a piece in, we will. I'll have to look at the other panel. It wasn't much money if we have to do it. The rest of it's in good shape. It's factory steel, not bad. The bumper holes and all that were good. So if we can get down there, I think that's a win. But you can see, see my finger in there. She's got quite a gap. So we'll kind of tack it down. It actually needs a little bit more, but I got the hammer. We'll give her a little schwaxky in there, get that done so it's holding itself where we want. Then if we want to section a piece in there, we can. I'm not sure what's right. Is the tail pan right or is the quarter right? Typically thinking it's probably the tail pan. But then this side, it has like nothing down here holding it, right? And look how much closer it is. It's obviously got a gap, but it fits real nice around here. We do got to pull it out a little bit, but down here will fit just mint. So with a small amount of clamping. So two different quarters, but we'll get them fit in there, and then otherwise, everything else is decent. Like now that we're down here, you can see, like look at the door itself has a wow in it right there, but you can see it's kind of got a decent gap. It's a little tight here. I'm gonna end up cutting the door and re-welding it, but I digress. Let's get back to this. Look at the back all welded together. Have ourselves a hot rod. I wanna put the hood on. Just get Danny out here, maybe we'll set it in there so it looks like something, and then forget about this thing. Oh, I think I wanna take a leaf spring out. Lower it. Okay, so we got her on there. Now, I realize I'm not attaching this the proper way, but a lot of the original metal was a no bueno. So the tail pan's supposed to have a little flange that goes off just like the quarter, and you weld them, like, see how I have a pair of vice grips holding that together? You would do that, weld it in there. Obviously, that's all missing, and so I just kind of ugly welded it, but it does come into line. It's actually not too bad, I gotta say. This is the tail pan I purchased, which it's a bit of a shame to cut up a good panel, so we'll see. But I bet if I just cut this out and like a little piece like that, and down here is behind the bumper, right? So the bumper will be right here. This is the only part that has to be really perfect, and then up in there. Then I can eliminate, because there's a bunch of filler all here. Now this is obviously rust, so just in this section right here, they obviously, when they put the quarter on, the replacement skin, they kind of buggered it all up. Now in here you can see like there's nothing I can do there. The metal's missing, it's ugly, it was just full of filler. So replace that little pan there will be good. And then what I can do back here, I can get to the back side, I can try and weld it from the back, and then I could, zip cut that out and it'll give it that nice line, and then fix it with filler. This side, actually not bad. There's filler just in this little area right here where it's been kind of KO'd. So same thing, that's right behind the bumper. We could probably just cut that little section out, weld that in. This is actually all good here. So there's no real worries. So I think the plan is, let's get all welded in place so it's not gonna move. Then we can go around and clean stuff up, weld on the backside, do whatever we have to do and make it look nice. And like I said, there's gonna be lots of fitment stuff, which you think you buy these panels, like, oh, we're golden. You gotta tweak them, cut them, weld them, and all sorts of stuff. But at the end of the day, that looks pretty good. I'm happy with the curve. It matches this little line here. Everything is, it's ugly, but it fits. So we'll see. I guess I could just weld. We'll have to grind that down and see. I could just fill that in. What do the taillights even look like on this thing? How much? Oh, you can see right there. They only cover ½ an inch, so that'll be visible. I'm sure you're all freaking out in the comments telling me to change the whole tail pan, but I'm not going to do it. Okay, so I'll show you this side right quick. I can fit my finger in there, so we're going to have to pull that over. So, then grab a few tools. Well, the welder, that's the only real tool you need here. Have a washer. Just going to weld this to the bottom of the quarter. Good. There's some classy sounding welds. Oh yeah. Hopefully won't need too much. So now, the ratchet strap around. I'm gonna go ahead and this will pull it over. Now what would be nice is if I could actually pull it backwards, but we don't currently have that option. So I'll give this a crank over. Okay, so that's almost in line, but now what we've done is we've pulled it ahead. So we have to pull that back. So we're gonna do that. Man, the camera work today is just pristine. We're gonna do that with a pair of clamps. Oh, that's tight. We have to loosen it a little. Oh, there we go. Not grabbing it right. There we go. A little more. There. So now that brought the bottom out. I'll probably give it a tack. Push more from the top down. That might be an idea. Oh, it's actually touching right there. I'll clean that up right quick. There's still some old panel on it. I'm gonna see if I can just kind of work this over with the screwdriver. Kind of pulling the panel. Oh, it does. I can move it back. That's not bad. Kind of screws the gap a little, but okay, that's not terrible. that fits, but it's gonna need a bit of a filler panel. So tight the bottom, gets real wide. This is now massaged. This, I assume, this is all full of filler. You can see there's still brass in there. It was brazed. So maybe we'll just section out this little piece here. We do the repair. We'll just use that little piece, because up here, looking good. I'm happy with that. These are all tacked. I think I can weld that from the backside, and we'll be golden. So the tail pan's gonna need its own amount of work, but at least now it's in place. And release the clamp here, and there you go. It kind of looks like a car, huh? So here's our new plan, or not new plan, it's the same plan I've had for a while. Get this deck lid fitting good. Now, this side of the car, we use the factory edge, so the deck lid fit great. So if we get it to fit here, here, and here, because that's all kind of factory stuff, then we'll adjust this by cutting and welding. So first things first, the deck lid is just super loose. So we'll get that. It's got a decent little gap. How are we doing there? It's okay. Still gotta shift just a little bit there. Now we're just gonna get it close because this can all be adjusted after the fact to a certain extent. And you could use shims and all that. So I can keep the weight on this. Zip that into place. Okay. This has to go down, but I think that's okay. Let's see what we can do here. That probably took the down that we need. Okay. So I'll just show you here. So factory panel, new panel, but we joined it in the factory spot. So it's got a decent gap. It gets a little gappy here, but that's just kind of the way it's going to be, I think. We could shift the deck lid over a little bit maybe, but we're in line there. It'll show up. That's good. And we're pretty much in line here. This actually has a bit of a curve, so that's irrelevant. We can fix that. Not bad here. Actually, not even bad there. But here is atrocious. So once we get the deck lid in, what I'm going to do is I'm going to split it right on this edge, just on this fold, just like this one. And we're going to move the inner structure over until the gap is good, and then we'll be left with whatever here, and we'll have to fill that in. So let's go ahead. I'm just going to play with this a little bit more and get it to fit, but we should be okay. Okay, so we actually had to do a little bit more screwing around. So I originally sliced this and I was playing with it. Well, then you realize this has got this big gap, which is fine, but it starts going over. We do have to leave somewhat of a gap here because that's where the weather strip fits, right? So the shortening has to come out of here as well because, yeah, that's what we're gonna have to do. This is gonna be something else. We have to keep a gap there so the weather strip fits. So I cut that out, welded that in, and now we're gonna slice this. I should probably just cut this whole piece right off and put it where I want. Yeah. So the pie cut's gonna come out of this section here, and then we'll have to just kind of widen that, but it has to go a fair bit. So I'll play around a little bit, just start ugly tacking it, and see what it looks like. Okay, so it's ugly, and everything just shortened up. So we got this piece in the inside. It's a little short there. We'll have to do something. And then this pried over. Now, so we have this pretty consistent gap the whole way around there. It's actually a little tight there, but not too bad. So now we know that fits. We have to fill in this section. And we also got to make sure it's not bad. What I might actually do, because this is actually a little bit low, it almost wants to kind of curve up to the deck lid. I think I'm going to weld this all in, and we may split that, just grind the top off, and take the piece off. I guess I don't have a whole lot. Oh, it's full of filler too. That's unfortunate. We're going to use something like this. It's got a bit of a crown to it, or bow, whatever you want to call it. We'll see if we can scab a piece in there. But you can see how this thing had quarters put on. They just put it right on top of the old ones and then just loaded it full of filler. Like, look at all the filler in there. So that's part of our fitment issues, is trying to eliminate that. This one's full of filler too. And I don't have the inside bit because it was, well, junk. I think I threw it away before I came to my senses. So let's see what we can fit in there, but that's not bad. Little pie piece. Kind of sucks, but such is life. Okay, I'm going to weld this in right quick. I'll think about this. This here I can just kind of push down and we can weld the gap to about there. And then maybe do a little tracing and see what we need at the back here. Okay, so I dropped her down on the ground again. Here's my thoughts. I want to weld the quarters on a fair bit more permanently. And you could probably do it on the lift or on jack stands and all that. But if you can put it on the wheels, this is how the car is going to be sitting 99% of its life, on the wheels, right? So if it's welded this way, it's not trying to fight or pull or doing like that. If it's up in the air, maybe it's, you know, nose down a little or something because the weight's funny. Not that it really matters, but that's just in my head how I want to do it. I got the inner structure good. I don't have this dealt with. I don't know if I'm going to do it right now or not. We'll see. Next step, I want to get the deck lid latched so we can make that all kind of fit. It's not too bad. So we have, this piece is just kind of sitting in there, but I'll have to weld it, give it a couple of tacks, give it the old slam test, and hopefully it will latch this thing. And then if we have that, you know, carried on, then we shouldn't have a whole lot more issues. This is obviously adjustable. Those 3 bolts, I should probably grease those up while we're at it. So you can, you know, change it up, down, left, right. It just has to be kind of close. So we'll get that in there. And once that's in there, then I think I want to start, you know, getting a little bit more permanent around there. And then in the door jambs, there's not a whole lot of welding actually to do. This one's a little ugly. I've got to do this whole seam, but get that on there and see what it looks like. So let's go ahead and see if we can just luck out. Maybe this deck lid will go on easy. Step 1, get your screwdriver out, because we're going to need that. Where's the welder? Crank it up to all of it. Oh, what's going on here? So now I'm just going to kind of blindly put this where I think it should be. Give her a weld. Okay, so that held it. The problem is the bottom actually came loose. Might have to raise it just a scotch, but we'll just give her another little weld. Okay. So that's good. So I can weld that in permanent. Will it open nice? If I could see in here. Okay. This was plug welded in. I'm going to seam weld it because I'm lazy. That's what I want to do. Where's my mask? So we get that dialed. Just one more thing, latched, giving it more strength. And every time something latches, it's like a pretty good feeling. For how cut up this thing was, it's unbelievable that it kind of fits. This project, you know, I didn't think it'd be this crazy. Okay, decklet's good. Now here's the plan. I want to weld this in. Now this quarter I'm not stoked with. There you guys go, there's a good looking guy. What happened was, when I had the washers welded on, I was pulling it across. It was fine, but it kind of lifted the quarter a little. So what I'm going to do, the backs are welded fine. I'm going to run the zip cut down here, get all these tack welds out, and then just hold it down with the hammer and get it kind of welded in there so it's more flat. It just has it's just a little proud, you know what I mean? I don't say that word very often or hear it very often, but so if I can get that cut out, knock her down just a scotch, weld that in, it'll be cherry. So that's what we're gonna do.
Tastes like Barcelona, a place I've never been before. But you live with your new lover, not thinking of me anymore. An angel that walked into my life at the wrong time. That's why whiskey makes me cry.
Okay, so we got her all welded up. That went pretty good. You know, needs a little bit of filler, obviously. I'm pretty happy with it. The only thing, the quarter has a real hard edge, whereas the decklet has a more round one. So I'll probably end up slicing in here and rolling the quarter just to give it a nice soft edge, but that'll be, you know, down the road a little bit. I'd like to get this section in here welded up, so I'll do that. As you saw, I was going back and forth with the air, kind of cooling it off and everything. So get that all dialed together. Then all we gotta do is in the door jamb. This will be pretty much set up. We'll do wheel wells and all that after, but that's all.
Oh, it tastes bittersweet. I catch myself starting to think of cry to me on repeat the whole time you first kissed me. A stranger that walked into my life at the wrong time. That's why whiskey makes me cry. That's why whiskey makes me cry. Taste your charm in the bitters, drink a little quicker. I'm in love with the liquor, 'cause I can't say goodbye.
Okay, well there we have it. Officially welded together. That's how I basically done. Now over here, it's gonna be a little bit different. I'm gonna weld it in this little section here, and it fits pretty good, so I'm happy with it. This is gonna be a little different. So factory, these panels lap together, so you can see how the quarter kind of drops down, so is that. So that's meant to be full of filler, so we'll just burn that in. I'll fill that in with, you know, something. The only thing that sucks on this side is there's this little, see a little kind of rib? Well, this one has it. For a reason, it sticks up. So I'm gonna cut it, you know, I don't know, wherever, pound it down until it looks good and carry on. But not much you can do. Everything is lined up there. It's lined up here. And it just don't fit. So the quarter panel has to kind of do this, which wouldn't make any sense because then this wouldn't be in line, which it is. That was the big thing, if you can kind of see. Yeah. So that's the plan. A bunch more welding. Sorry, I'm getting a little sick here, but cut that, pound out with a screwdriver. We'll weld it all in and it'll be fine, just fine. Okay, put this little splash pan, valley pan, whatever you want to call it. So this one's obviously sandblasted. I don't know if I should maybe just buy a new one. We'll see. It's got some dents in it that are pretty kind of junky. And then, I mean, pretty gross rust on it. But again, everything fits. I mean, and it fits. It's not like it's super tight. It wants to be there. The bolts are just finger tight even. So it's happy. The car is happy. Man, the amount of new sheet metal on this car is, it's a little sickening. I didn't think it would be this crazy of a project. And then once we do a couple of sections of the tail pan, there's not much left of this old girl, but hey, a new lease on life. Is it gonna be perfect? Absolutely not, but you know, an amateur paint job or something like that, maybe some flat black. People really hate the flat black, so kind of makes me like it more. Man, it's just so slow going down. We need a motor in this thing. Actually, tonight, we're gonna go check out the mill. A lot of people are giving me attitude when I put a big block in it. Man, I've got lots of big block stuff, got lots of small block stuff, we got some LS stuff, we got a little bit of everything. You know, the old small block Chevy just has a special place in my heart. They're simple, they're easy to go. You know, I get it. If you're trying to do all out power and all that, hey, I mean, LS stuff for a lot of things, and then honestly, big block Chevys is the way to go, but I want a driver, and that's what I think are going to accomplish. I might have Danny come out later for the thumbnail and we'll put the hood on, just make sure it fits, but I gotta say, considering everything fits decent there, the hood should plunk on like nothing. This is definitely not a very sexy weld here, but really who cares? We're just gonna fill that all in with filler. It's got really weird, yeah, that's factory stuff. Split down there, and I just whacked it into place, so I think it's okay. A little bit more cleaning up with the grinder. Actually, the belt sander might do good in there, just to give that a hard line. But filler will fix that with a long board, and it'll be just perfect. All around there looks good. I welded all in there real nice. There was, actually, as I was welding in here, and I remember there was one hole. I thought there was a hole I had to fix. I'll have to find it. But we can do that, and then we can just double check, make sure the glass still fits and all the trim and whatnot, and go from there. I didn't weld the little section in the trunk, but I'll do that when I do this. And I'll do this when I do the tail pan. I'll do the tail pan next video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you wouldn't mind subscribing to the channel and leaving a comment. I do read them all, even the mean ones. It really does look like a car. It's not just stitched together or screwed together. It's gonna be what it's gonna be. So I think we'll probably work our way from the back to the front for fitment, and the reason is, the back is permanent. There's no adjustability. Once the quarter panels and all that are on, the tail panel's on, the trunk lid can be adjusted, but that's that. Then we'll start working our way ahead. So fit the door to the quarter, and as long as that fits the fender, we're doing okay, because these do have some movement. I have a feeling what I'll end up doing is probably cutting some of the back of the door out, just, you know, a zip disc width, and then re-welding it, and then grinding it, so it has the perfect door gap. When there's so much new metal on here, just ain't nothing gonna fit. We should be able to get that dialed together. Hopefully hood hinges will be here in a few days. If we get the hood on this thing, a little bit of fitment, so probably a video or two of cutting, welding, just a little stuff, which is kind of interesting. It's definitely not as rewarding as this, because I know to you guys the car probably looks pretty good on camera. It does need a little bit more screwing around, and then it's bodywork time. But I'm not gonna do a ridiculous amount. I'm gonna lower my standards. Well, I won't lower them, we'll just keep them where they are. And I'd like to get some paint in this thing. Now if the motor's ready to go, like I said, I picked up a transmission today. I'm gonna go get that dropped off to get gone through and order a few parts. It should be a pretty quick turnaround once things start going together. Pretty exciting stuff. Thank you so much for hanging out, and you know, you guys have been so supportive on this. I am amazed. I'm just hacking this thing together in my garage, but you guys all seem to like it for whatever reason, so thank you for that. I'll see you on the next video.